Hi students, it's Ms.Boley here. Today we're gonna go over how to create a tessellation using a slide. So we're gonna do this type of tessellation because it is the simplest kind. What we're gonna need today is, if you have Post-its, that's awesome. We're gonna use those. If you do not have Post-its, it's all good. You can just simply create a square of paper. A rectangle works as well, just by folding and cutting a piece of paper. So if I wanted to create a rectangle or a square to use, just fold and then use my scissors to cut along these fold lines here. Okay, so you're just gonna need a small square or rectangle of paper. These are gonna be our tracers. And then you'll also need just either your visual journal or paper to trace your tracers on. So first we're going to create our tracer. So we're gonna take one of our Post-its or squares of paper, and I'm gonna draw an area that I'm going to cut out. So I like to call this the little nibble. So I'm gonna draw a nibble area that I'm going to then cut off, and then I'm gonna slide that area over to this side and tape it here. Okay, so we'll also need some tape. We're gonna also need markers and pencil crayons, anything else you like to use to color, and maybe a marker. All right, so here we go. Let's do the nibble. So we're going to, I'm trying to, as you've seen in some of the videos, MC Escher's tessellations often show like birds or fish. So I'm gonna try to do a bird. Okay, so I've drawn that, and now I'm going to cut it. I'm gonna cut it off and move it, slide it over. Okay, I'm not going to rotate it. I'm not going to flip it. You can do tessellations in that way. But for this one, because it's our first one, we're gonna keep it simple. Okay, so now I have my cut off piece. Okay, I'm not gonna do anything to it. I'm not gonna flip it. I'm not gonna rotate it. I'm not gonna do anything. I'm just going to lift it up and slide it over to this side. Okay, so I'm translating it over, and then I'm gonna tape it on there. If you don't have tape, you can just use a glue stick. Somehow attach it onto here. Okay, so see how I've taken this and I've moved it over here. Perfect. Okay, so now I'm going to do another nibble. I'm gonna do it on the top edge. Okay, just to give it a little bit of extra interest. I could create a tessellation with this shape because I know that this would fit together. But I wanna do just another nibble from the top, okay? And I'm gonna slide that down to the bottom. So again, I'm trying to go for a bird type. You don't need to think about any animal or anything like that. You can just draw whatever sort of shape you feel looks good, and then just figure out what animal it looks like from there. Okay, so now I'm gonna cut that off. And slide it down to the bottom. Okay, so I'm not moving this around at all. I'm just gonna pick it up, move it down to the bottom. And then I'm gonna tape it on. So at this point, I can flip this over. I can change it. I can decide. I'm gonna end up tracing this onto my page. So I can decide which way I want it to be. If I want it to be this way, if I want it to be this way, if I want it to be this way, I can decide what looks best to me. Since I was attempting to make this sort of look like bird-like, I'm gonna try to draw, like I think this was obviously meant to be the beak. So here I'll draw a little beak area. So I can draw on this tracer. I'm just drawing it just so you guys can kind of see what I mean by bird, because it's kind of hard to tell. Okay, so it's kind of an abstract bird, but I mean with this face area here, it definitely does resemble a bird. So now I'm gonna decide if I'm going to use colored paper to trace or if I'm gonna use white paper to trace. I think I'll use colored paper. You are free to just use regular white paper if you like, or if that's all you have. So I'm gonna place my tracer somewhere on my page. Probably just gonna start in the top left corner and kind of have it touching the edges there. I'm gonna use a pencil to begin, just in case I make a mistake. This is quite, it's kind of tough. So if you end up doing a couple different tracers before you decide on your actual final one that you're gonna use to create your tessellation, that is definitely okay. And if you kind of make some mistakes with tracing, that's also okay because we're using pencil, we can erase. Okay, so there we go. And then I'm gonna translate this over so that it fits perfectly with the one beside it. Because remember, tessellations can't have any overlapping or spaces in between. So I'm just gonna continue tracing this until my whole page is filled up. When I end up getting to the edge, I might need to just trace part of my shape. So we might end up getting to a part where like they don't exactly fit perfectly. We're just gonna do our best to decide like which side needs to be lined up the most. Okay, and then we would continue to fill in the full page. All right, so now I can decide what I would like to do. So I'm gonna take my markers and my pencil crayons or whatever, and I'm gonna start to add details in to my tessellation. So I can decide if I want to draw maybe like that bird that I drew on the tracer again. And then maybe on my other, like on my alternating shape over here, I could do a different bird, or I could color it a different color. Okay, so I'm making a bird and a bird. So here I could make a different kind of bird, or I could decide to fill in this area with some sort of pattern. I think I might do like a different type of bird here. Okay, so I would end up continuing my tessellation, outlining and repeating these patterns for my whole page. I'm going to link another video in this assignment, which has another art teacher going over the exact same process, and they have some cool ideas for like what you can do to finish your shapes. So we want it to be recognizable as something. We want to add details and colors. And yeah, that's that. So that's how we do a slide tessellation. So we're only sliding. We're sliding the nibble over to the other side. We're not rotating or anything. We're just sliding. And then same thing with the shape. We're repeating it by sliding. All right. So I hope that helped you create your own awesome tessellations. Have fun.